Hello there everybody, and welcome to this feature presentation on YouTube. I am King Mac, your hamburger pal. Thank you all for watching. Be sure to enjoy a hot fresh cheeseburger along with some delicious golden french fries, a tasty milkshake, and a nice soft drink. Also be sure to grab some hot buttery popcorn while you're at it as you enjoy this episode of TTBurger Game Reviews on YouTube.
Hello my friends, welcome back! You're watching TTBurger Game Reviews here on YouTube, and I'm your host Tony. We're continuing with my Resistance series review, episode 254, and we're on part 2 of 3 parts. Continuing with the Resistance series here, and before I get started here, I want to give a shout out to Free Green HD and Sub-Zero MNX for King Mac, along with Sedetta Hyperlamnia, Brickle Sprickle Stateside, Griffin Puff, Megs, Black Healer, along with Algojira, Roster Pool 69, the Homie RJ, the Sensational Gent, Desert Cody D 2022, and more, and Red Hood Assassin, and more. And today we have the sequel to Resistance Fall of Man here. Before we can even get started here, those missed what happened in episode 254, part 1 of 3 parts. Bring it over here. It's a TTBurger recap to show y'all what you missed. I took a look at Resistance Fall of Man for the PlayStation 3, and I gave it a 9.5 out of 10 because it was a fantastic first-person shooter that borrowed both gameplay elements from classic first-person shooters and brought into a modern game here. And they did quite a bit of risk here, and it worked really well. But there were some problems I had with like the music and the fact that Nathan Hale didn't have really a lot of lines of dialogue and stuff and everything. But it's still a fantastic game overall, and it should not be overlooked if you like first-person shooters, if you want one for the PlayStation 3, because it's a must-buy for sure. Today we're going to zoom ahead to the year November 4th, 2008, back when I was a sophomore in college and I recently turned 20 years old. And I remember like getting the limited edition of this game here, which came with the action figure and all that stuff. And this is also made by Insomniac Games, like here in America. We got it right here. This is Resistance 2 for the PlayStation 3 exclusively, released on November 4th, 2008. Now I know you'll see here that the cover art looks different than the kind you see in stores. This was the cover art for the limited edition, that's why it looks different there. Resistance 2 was a great game and a great sequel that continues the series very well, but Resistance Fall of Man was better. This time due to Resistance Fall of Man not selling well because of the classic first-person shooter mechanics like no waypoints, ability to carry all your weapons, and no regenerating health and health power stuff, modern gamers who did not grow up with these games like this, like Doom, Perfect Dark, Medal of Honor, and Disruptor, and Jumping Flash and all that stuff, were not happy with these mechanics. So Insomniac Games decided to make Resistance 2 more like Call of Duty by getting rid of the weapon wheel. We were able to hold all your weapons, replace them with a 2-weapon system along with the health system replaced with regenerating health. There are no vehicles to drive in this either, and this was a disappointment for me and stuff. I mean, Resistance 2 was still a fun game, just it took out a lot of things and replaced it with things that did not need to be taken out. It will be getting a lower score than last time, but not that much lower. The story of Resistance 2 takes place sometime after the Resistance Fall of Man, where Sergeant Nathan Hale is being taken into custody by the soldiers of the Special Research Project Administration, also known as the SRPA, led by Major Richard Blake, who questions him about the Chimera and learns that he's infected with the Chimera virus that's slowly turning him into a Chimera himself. Nathan Hale has to put a stop to this worsened problem before it's too late. Nathan Hale is also joined by Corporal Joseph Capelli, who sees that Hale is slowly turning into a Chimera and sees that he disobeys orders like that, and they have some chemistry, they don't get along or anything like that. Due to the virus with Hale and stuff like that, he's just having bad luck. There is more to the story, but I will not spoil it for anyone. My opinion on the story, I do like it, but the way Resistance 2 is set up makes the story more like Call of Duty Chimera Edition or Call of Duty Resistance, and it shows too. Rachel Parker is not in this game. She does not narrate the story. There's no narrator for the story at all, which is a shock because it made Resistance Fall of Man's story very memorable and original. But here we just have characters talking and just bickering and fighting when they're on the drop ship or anything like that. Nathan Hale does have more lines of dialogue, but his personality is not that much better. He's an angry asshole and he's demanding, and sure I did complain about him not having a lot of lines of dialogue, he was semi-mute, but here he's just a straight up asshole for the most part. The other characters are okay, and the character with most personality is actually Joseph Capelli, and you'll see why when you play the game. Story is good though, just not as good as Resistance Fallen Man's story. The presentation for Resistance 2, the graphics are great, improved over the original. The character models look very detailed, and at the time they look pretty realistic, and it's improving the graphics for sure. The frame rate is also very smooth at 60 frames per second, but there are some small slowdowns, but nothing major. The gun models are the most improved. Last time they looked very last gen, but looking kind of flat looking. This time they look much better. The explosions and weapon effects and blood effects are awesome here, and they work really well. The cutscenes do look good, not the best cutscenes, but they still look pretty good. My only problem is the environment. Instead of being like semi-open and big, like Resistance Fallen Man, here they are more linear in a straight path, and they have some cool stuff in the background, stuff like stuff breaking, exploding, and abandoned houses stuff, but it's still linear looking no matter what. The weakest aspect of Resistance 2 is the sound. The voice acting, while good, sounds a little over the top with yelling and screaming. David Kaye, who's known for voicing Clank from Ratchet & Clank, voices Nathan Hale once again. I didn't mention that in the first game. He sounds great along with David Bode, which is Joseph Capelli. They sound excellent, but the other actors sound a little over the top and could have been better in my opinion. Music is still a little generic and sounds more like Call of Duty music than music from Resistance Fallen Man. I've heard worse music, but this here is not the best. The weapon and explosion sound effects sound the best, while not as good as first Resistance, but still sound good. The gameplay of Resistance 2's gameplay is fun, but when you compare it to Resistance Fallen Man, you will see the first game did better. Mainly because they took away most of the features from the first game, such as the health packs, the weapon wheel, fuel speed drive, and the control schemes changed to make it more suited for modern shooter fans and stuff and everything. And let's not forget the waypoints they included this time in case you get lost. Now, I do not mind changes, but here they went out of the way to make it like Call of Duty, because the sales did not go well for Resistance Fallen Man. Now, I do like the weapons. You have a lot of cool weapons. Like, you have this thing called, like, this saw weapon, which shoots out saws and stuff, like called the saw, and you got this burst fire rifle with a scope on it and stuff, and a lot of the weapons are there, and that's a plus, and tons of weapons and cool variety, and that's a good thing there. The enemy AI is aggressive, and due to these changes and everything, they will overpower you and gang up on you, and to make the game longer than it is, I mean, it's not a killer for me, just more of an annoyance than anything. And there are parts in the game where all like chimera enemies will gang up on you and just start coming out in swarms. And if you have to reload a weapon or you're stuck in that one corner, you are fucked. And you might as well reset the game. And just yeah, I do like the variety of places to go to, different parts of the world setting and changes on the airship and stuff and everything. And it's fun. But there are only 8 chapters, and while they are long chapters, there are only 8 chapters with checkpoints and stuff. And you can breeze through this game in about 6 hours or so, maybe a little longer on like a higher difficulty. The multiplayer I did try out a little bit, but I could not get into it, and the server shut down. But I do know how they had like 50 players online. You can play up to 50 players online, which is pretty cool. Now, just to let you know, I am not bashing Resistance 2 because it is still a fun game. Just compared to Resistance Fallen Man, Resistance 2 fell short, especially with the changes they made to make it more like a modern first-person shooter. And the problem with that is Resistance Fallen Man had its own way of presenting, of showing that the class of first-person shooters could still be made. Here, they just kind of felt like what Perfect Dark Zero did to make it more modern and stuff like that. And that kind of is the reason why it's going to get a lower score. And that's pretty much what I gotta say there. Final thoughts: Resistance 2 is still a fun game compared to the first game. Resistance Fallen Man, Resistance 2 is still great. Just Resistance Fallen Man was better and stuff. Because of the complaints I have, that Resistance 2 is getting an 8 out of 10. It's a slightly lower score, but it's the best score I can give it because of the problems I have with it. And that's it for episode 254, part 2 of 3. Stay tuned for the grand finale. We're going to take a look at Resistance 3 to wrap up this Resistance trilogy. And this time we play as Joseph Capelli in the game and stuff, and try to wrap up what happened with the Chimera and everything. How does this game fare? It brings back the classic health system and more, so not a good thing or a bad thing, or how did the game turn out? We'll have to find out next, which all I gotta say is Tony, peace out, have a good day, and see you on my review of Resistance 3 by Insomniac Games, Sonic Entertainment America. Don't forget to click on the links to join my Discord group, my Facebook group, and my Facebook page, and feel free to hit that subscribe button and like and stuff. Which all I gotta say is Tony, peace out, have a good day, and see you on my review of Resistance 3 for the PlayStation 3 exclusively. Take care, everybody. You just gotta I could be a man, paying for your